I think what we're talking about today is the downfall of Disney, or at least not the downfall, maybe the slide of Disney. And I think you're approaching it from the perspective of a financial angle as a shareholder. I'm
Right.
approaching it from a creative angle as somebody who likes good stories. And now that Disney owns 90% of the good stories, what are they going to do with them? Because I don't know. And
That's
I can tell
interesting.
you what they've done so far: few hits, a couple of doubles, a triple here and there, no home runs.
It's an interesting way to look at it from Disney, from your standpoint, because there is it's not just kind of a unwritten contract. There's a written contract as a shareholder that you're going to do everything you can to make me money financially, but not to have good stories. Now they may go hand in hand, but I didn't sign up for good stories. I signed up for making money.
Yeah.
So how do we do that, Disney? That's all I care about. Like, I really don't I don't have any kids. Do I care about Disney making good stories? I watch Pulp Fiction and stuff like that. I watch adult stuff. Now they come out with some stuff occasionally that's pretty good. I think we just watched Andor. You enjoyed Andor, right?
Dude, I thought Andor was epic, but it was a slow start and a slow burn into a really good story. And it took a minute to get there. The end game was worth it. Not Avengers Endgame.
Don't spoiler alert.
I'm not going to spoiler alert anything. A spoiler alert: he dies in Rogue One. But
everybody dies in Rogue One.
Everybody dies in Rogue One.
Especially those guys trapped in the ship with Darth Vader. Man, did they die.
Man, did they die hard. But I got to tell you, Rogue One might have been the last home run creatively they hit. And I got to give Andor a full solid triple. But beyond that, like outside of the Star Wars universe, the Marvel universe, a couple of doubles, a single here and there, some solid
like the Disney
strikeout.
universe, their own stuff.
The Disney universe is bereft of creativity.
Well, how long has this been going on?
10, 12 years ago, probably 2013, 2014. I'd have to go back and look, and you drop the date in and let everybody know the exact date. But I regard it as the first live action translation of a cartoon. And that when they made some money off of it, it went downhill. And that first live action translation, I believe, was The Lion King. I want to say it was in 2013, 2014. It could have been later. It could have been more recent.
I have a list of their movies in chronological order here that they released. So that's the only thing I'm pulling up for this video. But I want to just kind of see, like, because they get all jumbled. Like they release so many movies.
They do release so many movies, right? And so many of them are remakes, and remakes in general are killing creativity across generation. I mean, I'm going to say a statement right now. Generation Z, the millennials, they all think that whenever they discover something, it's been discovered for the first time. And so when they remake something, they think they're being clever. But the reality is there's absolutely zero creativity in it. And you're going to have a generation that is reluctantly devoid of any creativity, because all they've done is relied on everybody else's findings and then found it and packaged it up as their own recent wonderful discovery. Oh, The Lion King, we remade it. It's new. And that was Jon Favreau.
I used to watch Disney because I love Disney. I was a kid, even as an adult, they had great stories. The colors burst. The songs were good. That chick is hot. I love Star Wars. They bought Star Wars. Like, I just loved Disney. Then I started watching Disney because I was pissed off. Okay? I would watch it and be like, come on, man. Like, come back to where you were. You know what? Maybe this will work. Maybe the next Star Wars maybe The Last Jedi will be good. You know, maybe, I don't know. I didn't love the one before. I don't love Disney Star. I'll keep watching it. I'll watch Andor. Maybe that'll be good. Maybe that'll remind me of the Star Wars that I love so much. I'll watch the Acolyte. Nobody watched the Acolyte. That's a joke.
Dude, I'm a Star Wars fanatic.
Right.
And I didn't make it through the first flipping episode. And you want to know why?
Why?
Because it was bad.
It was horrible. But I would watch it to see if it was going to get any better, or part of me would watch it to see how bad it is. Like, I would literally watch it. And for that, I would either continue to stream Disney Plus, or I would steal your password, Will. Those are the things I would do. Okay. Just to watch this one show.
Can we qualify that you steal my password?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's what you don't want, and here's where Disney is. I don't care anymore.
I'm getting there, man. I'm really, really getting there.
It's what you just said. If you hate watch, Disney doesn't care. You're still making money, right, Disney? And this worked for about 5 to 7 years from 2019. And people would hate watch because maybe it'll get better. Like, I know Disney's done good stuff. They can do good stuff. And they would come out with one movie every year and a half. And you go, oh, Inside Out, that's good. Inside Out 2, that's good. And then all of a sudden, at some point, I don't care anymore. And you just stop watching everything Disney. And that's where I am. That's where I've come to. That doesn't have anything to do with the business side of it, but this is me speaking on the creative side of it. It's just like, I'm done.
But they haven't done anything awesome. They haven't done a Wall-E. They haven't done anything that was great creatively in a really long time, man. And Andor was great. But you know what Andor was?
Star Wars.
It was a prequel.
Kinda.
Star Wars, kinda. Yeah. It was a prequel to an existing good movie.
And it's a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's a Star Wars movie made by Disney. And you know what? It filled a gap I think some of us were interested in, and that's fine. But that's as creative as they get.
That's as creative as they get.
Like, it's Andor's not a prequel to General Green Star from Star Space that Disney came up with. It's Star Wars. It's a prequel to Star Wars.
It's Star Wars, right? It's an existing
that
property
they bought.
Yeah, it's an existing property that they're continually
fucking up.
Yeah, I was saying I went with debasing.
I like where your head is.
You had to use the curse word.
They're creatively bankrupt.
Accurate. Yeah.
Why are they creatively bankrupt is something to talk about. But first, let's prove they're creatively bankrupt. Okay?
Okay, let's prove it. Let's do it. How do we do this?
So by that I mean, I'm going to assume back in the day, Disney had this incredible writer's room. Okay? And by writer's room, I mean people on staff that did nothing but come up with new ideas. They wrote movies. They wrote TV series. They wrote books.
They had a whole department called Imagineering.
Right. So that all happened.
I mean, and that just wasn't lip service.
And they were the best in the world at it.
Yeah.
Disney was for a while. Like, so they were the greatest storytellers the world had. Now, I don't know when it started, but I can tell you, if anybody over there at Disney right now is getting paid to be creative and come up with new things, they're not doing the work for their paycheck. And let me tell you why.
Tell me.
I'm gonna go through right now, starting with things that are coming up or have just now been released in theaters by Disney. You tell me which of these is not either a remake of something that's already happened or a sequel to a movie that they already have.
Dude, this is going to be awesome. I'm excited about this. This is a good conversation. This is good.
Princess Diaries 3, Incredibles 3, Coco 2, Bluey the movie.
Bluey the movie is going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. And guess what Disney doesn't have? They don't own Bluey. They rent it from the BBC. Frozen 3 coming out 2027. That's our next movie. After that, here we go, 2026. Live action Moana.
I mean, that's the thing is Moana itself hasn't even been out that long. Why do we need we don't need a reminder of it.
They don't have anybody coming up with new ideas. So they have to do the live action thing or a sequel. And here's the point. Right before Moana comes out, Toy Story 5 is their next one out.
Dude, that pisses me off because Toy Story 4, right? They put a definitive bow on that. Toy Story is turning into the fucking last movie, the last Lord of the Rings movie that you thought was over, except it's not, and then it's over again, except it's not, and then it's over again, and then it's not. No, I think Lord of the Rings is still on at an apartment I had 7 years ago.
Put that Hobbit on that motherfucking boat and send that boat off into the sunset. Take it easy, Dirk. All right. Before that, we have something from Pixar that I've never heard of. It's called Hoppers. So Pixar occasionally will come up with something weird like Inside Out or, that kind of stuff. So there it is. That's the first one that I've come up with that is not something either a sequel or a remake. Let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 1 out of 8 so far of their upcoming movies. All right. Let's keep going on what's coming up. Zootopia 2, Tron, Ares, Freakier, Friday, Lilo, and Stitch. Now we've caught up. These are the other movies that are. I'm not skipping anything. So you've got a few things that are on the release schedule that I'm not saying. You know why? Because they're a series for Disney Plus, like Sea Lions of the Galapagos. Of course, I'm not going to say that. Okay, but sea lions have been around forever. Disney didn't invent them.
But have they been in the Galapagos forever? Wouldn't it be awesome if Disney actually did a show where they took sea lions to the Galapagos for the first time and watched them like destroy the entire habitat there? That would be
Now
amazing.
we're at the point now where they have to make up a sea lion or something like a sea lion. Like they have to come up with unicorns, but they wouldn't have come up with unicorns. That's somebody else's idea. Here's the next one. Ready? Snow White, Mufasa the Lion King, Moana 2, Inside Out 2, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Christmas, which I guess came out, Wish. Oh my God, Wish was new. And man, did it tank like a motherfucker.
I don't even remember what Wish was. Because I actually was having this conversation with my wife this morning, and she said, I was like, what was the last movie that came out that was original? And she said, Wish. And I said, I'm not sure that I remember that. And she said, because we didn't see it. And I said, aha.
The Haunted Mansion, based on one of their rides. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The Little Mermaid, live action. Peter Pan and Wendy. Chang Can Dunk. No, wait, that's on Disney Plus. Sorry, guys. Night at the Museum. Another one of them. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Another one of them. Strange World. Boom. Strange World. I don't know what we are now. We're like 2 for almost 25 or 30. Like, I'm just going through. It's Hocus Pocus 2. Pinocchio live action. Rise. I've never heard of Rise. What's Rise? Encanto. That was a Pixar one, wasn't it?
No, that was a Disney one.
Co-produced with Pixar. Now we have Luca. Before that, we have Cruella. Before that, we have Soul. Before that, Disney released this brand new movie. It was live action. It's called Mulan. Onward, which was something they did with Pixar Animation Studios. There it is. I'll just go through a couple more real quick. Before that, we had Frozen 2. Before that, we had Lady and the Tramp. Before that, we have Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Before that, the live-action Lion King, Toy Story 4, live-action Aladdin, live-action Dumbo, Mary Poppins Returns, Ralph Breaks the Internet,
sequel,
Christopher Robin, Incredibles 2, A Wrinkle in Time. That's where we are.
Honestly, I'm really proud of you, Dirk, for not leaning on the I'm going to say it, Dirk. I'm going to say woke.
Define woke real quick.
I don't know.
Yeah, nobody does. That's why it's an easy thing to say.
That's why it's an easy thing to say.
I start saying stuff and people say you're not woke enough or whatever. I'm like, I don't know what that means. I'm just talking about the business end of Disney here. I don't know.
Well,
I can tell you the reason that they don't have any good writers in the writers' room is because they started hiring people based on the way they look.
Yeah,
not based on their skill.
I don't know about that. I don't know if they hired people. What I can tell you, because I don't know who these writers are, and I don't know what the writers' rooms look like. But I can tell you, they're not particularly talented.
They're empty unless there's just a bunch of people who don't have the skills to do what the job entails. Either that, they're either empty or they're full of people who are incompetent. They have to be. Because everything's a sequel or everything's a remake,
and it all blows.
And that all kind of started. We started DEI hiring. I'm not saying there aren't people who don't look like me that aren't brilliant. I'm just saying you pick some because they don't look like me. Go find the brilliant versions of them. Oh, they're not as good. They're real hard to find. There aren't any. Then you hire somebody that looks like fucking me.
I wouldn't hire anybody who looks like you. You're too cute. Too distracting.
It's not my best hair day.
All right, dude, I'm telling you.
Broadway.
I'm Broadway. I'm not going to say.
Okay. It's okay to hire people that look like us. It's okay, guys.
I'm not going to say, because I don't know. I can tell you what their external hiring practices
we
look
do
like.
know. We just went through it, so we do know.
No. I'm saying, like, I can tell you what their casting strategies have been, which seems like it's formulaic and it's based on a pretty shitty formula. If we assume that carried over into the writer's room, then you have to assume that lack of talent has carried across, because these movies aren't failing because of they're not failing because audiences aren't interested. They're not failing because nobody wants to go see a great movie. They're failing because they're boring.
Good news, everybody. This particular episode that's on YouTube by two guys that you don't really know, and if you do ever know us because we get big enough, that's cool. You know what it's not? It's not a legal document. So I can tell you right now, based on what I know. As much as Joe Biden didn't shake the hands of invisible people because he was losing his mental acuity while he was president, okay, I can tell you this. Disney is failing. Their writing is poor because they DEI hired. It's not legal because no one's ever going to come out and say it. But I've put all the links of the chain together. We did it. Yay. That's it. That's a fact now. In my world, it's a fact. Now, people from both sides of the aisle like to take their opinions and make them fact. I just made my opinion a fact based on chain linking facts together. Hey!
I don't know who hired who. I don't know who works in that room, but I can tell you whoever is in that room, if they're gray, green, blue, black, gold jacket, green jacket, they are bad. Kathleen Kennedy makes a lot of bad choices. That's why she's been demoted. Jon Favreau better straighten some shit up. The people who are in charge at Disney, what the chuck, man? Like, you know, you were able to do this stuff and you were able to do things in real subtle, great ways that was inspiring to people. Like they had the gay days and things like that at Disneyland, and they were all unofficial, but they were very supported, or maybe they were official. I don't know, but they were very supportive of communities. And what they're doing now is they're debasing their artwork and they're not supporting communities by bringing the best work forward for communities to enjoy, to participate in, to build out of, and they're losing because of it. Whether they're hiring black people or white people or any person, they're producing crap.
I disagree. I would say it's not whether they're hiring black or white. It's because they are on purpose hiring people who look a certain way. It's because of that.
Well, I know they'd never.
I'm not saying there aren't people of all colors that can do the job. I'm saying you're not finding them.
No, that's my point too. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying
you're hiring based solely on that.
Yeah. And if they're just hiring whoever happens to be in Orlando and happens to have a degree in writing and wrote a spec script and, they're Latino, don't hire them because they're convenient. Like, is it convenience hiring? Is it easier? Well, first off, HR departments are doom-ridden, depressing places where hopes go to die.
To be fair, in today's America, Will, everything you said's still wrong. They could have the degree. How they did get the degree? It could have been a DEI degree. So even having the degree could be a problem.
Now you're just engaging.
Why? Affirmative action was alive for what, 30, 35, 40 years? People were put into schools based solely on the way they look. People weren't allowed in because they were allowed in.
Okay, that's not true. They were not
Asian Americans at Harvard and all Ivy League schools goes down as affirmative action goes up. They only can allow so many.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying not everybody was unqualified. They weren't unqualified. That's not the only reason. They were disqualified. Many people were disqualified for that reason. Many people were not qualified for that reason.
Right. So if I have the 12 best people who are all white and they're better than the first best person who is Latino, but the Latino got into school because of that, do I want to now hire that person because they have a degree? No, I do not.
No.
But I don't know anymore because it's not based on merit. It's based on what you look like. Boom. It's what you look like. Whatever you look like.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
I know what I just did. I know.
I'm not sure. I thought you had a seizure.
I don't know why I turned into Daffy Duck. But.
When we start going down that rabbit hole, like that's a whole other rabbit hole, right? But the rabbit hole is, it still comes back to hiring crappy talent. And the problem is that there is great talent out there that could represent a diverse audience and speak to a diverse audience. They're not finding them, and in lieu of finding them, they're hiring crap and they're producing crap.
I think that Disney didn't hire the right people, and I think some of that is probably based on, unfortunately, what they called DEI. And whether DEI ended up standing for what it was meant to stand for or doing the job, it's kind of taking a backseat now. Whether it did what it was supposed to do or didn't, I think it cost Disney, as of per this particular episode on YouTube, I think it cost them some money.
Yeah, I think it cost them a lot of money. And I think there are two things at work here, right? I think we both agree they hired the wrong people, right?
Right, yeah.
Now, what I think is interesting, and I just remembered this, I believe that Disney moved a large portion of their creative teams out of LA to Orlando. And I think they did that for cost-cutting measures. They did that for tax incentive reasons. They did that for purely business reasons. And as I understand it, not a lot of people decided to leave their nice, comfy homes in LA for the humid, landlocked torture show that is Central Florida. And as a function of that, they started hiring people who would come to Central Florida.
That's cute. That's a cute reason.
No, it's not a cute reason. I mean, I think that that's an actual reason. Now, my thing to buttress up your opinion is when they started hiring the people who would come there, if they're only hiring against an agenda and they're only hiring against, a group of a specific kind of checklist, you've lost you've abandoned your talent in LA that has produced great work for you, and now you're relying on a checklist of people that you are looking to hire. And at the end of the day, whether that checklist is DEI included or whether that checklist is brain dead or DEI and brain dead, they hired a bunch of brain dead people.
So I guess it's not an argument. What it is maybe another counter reason that they didn't hire writers that were any good or people that were any good at Disney, which is why they have sequels, nothing but sequels and remakes, is one of these two things is what we've said so far. One, it's based on something that was pushed by the government that you have to do as a business, or businesses did on their own, saying we have to hire in a certain way based on the way people look. That's one thing. Or number two, they couldn't find anybody to work in the state that this entire country goes to vacation in, and when they can retire and have enough money, go to live in. Is that right?
No, I'm saying they don't want to go to Central Florida. Okay, not the entire state of Florida. Central. Have you ever been to Central Florida?
Yeah.
It's a shit show.
It's about an hour from West Florida and East Florida.
Yeah, it's about an hour. Kind of a bitch of a commute.
Are you saying you won that argument?
No, I'm saying
I feel like people can go live in Florida. I think.
No, I'm saying
I see what you're saying.
I'm saying what they had is they had a cadre of creativity that they abandoned, and then they expected to replace it, and that what they replaced it with was craptastic.
I agree with that. I just don't know if it was based on geography. Like so far, their creative absence kind of mirrors a little bit the DEI hiring.
I'm saying there are other factors that could, dude, I'm trying to agree with you, motherfucker. I'm saying when you take all of the good people you have out of the equation and then you start replacing them with an agenda, that shit goes bad.
All I'm saying is like when I watch, I don't know, like mainstream news, like on the CNN or MSNBC, I occasionally get stuff like this. Something's wrong with Joe Biden. Okay, he's old, he's got dementia, and it turns out he's got cancer, which has nothing to do with it. Let's say he's older and he has dementia, which is the reason that he's stumbling around and can't make certain sentences work for him. Okay. The media will jump in and say like this, also has a stuttering problem and always has. Now that's always been a problem and everybody knows that. Now don't make fun of people who stutter. I'm going to say 99% of the problem with the hiring practices of Disney is not because they live in sweltering Central Florida, but because they hired people based on their race as opposed to hiring the best for the position. I bet it's 99% of it.
I would say 60 to 80% because Central Florida is terrible.
It's horrible, but there's a lot of smart people that live in North Dakota. They would love to live in Central Florida. There's like 3 people there. They're better than whoever they got.
Okay, we'll agree on that tip.
You know what? Nobody's too big to fail, Disney. And unfortunately, you're seeing it now. It bothers me because I did love Star Wars. I mean, not love Star Wars. Like, I've been to Star Wars Celebration. Like, I'm not just a guy who really likes Star Wars. Like, I went. I followed it. Like, and I'm now, the word that I was staying away from is apathetic. I'm apathetic to what you release. I don't care. Like, it's not that I'm mad anymore. It's not that I love you anymore. I don't even care. I don't care enough to even check it out.
I went from ambivalence to apathy, which is just, it's, you know what the next stop is? Boredom.
I'll put it this way. You know what's funny? I've been with people have been in relationships. You've been in a relationship, right? Well, maybe you got married, maybe you haven't. We've all been in relationships. And we love that person. Man, do I love them. And then all of a sudden they break up with me. And you know what? I hate them. But if they call, I'm going to answer, man. Because they broke up with me, right? I'm still in love with them. That's how a relationship works. And at some point, you stop giving a shit who they're dating, what they're doing, if they have kids, where they live. You just stop. That's where I am with Disney.
I don't know why It happens, but I cannot deny your parallel.
Thank you. I didn't think that was going to be a compliment, so I got excited. Like I got unreasonably excited.
No, I can't deny your parallel. I can't prove it, but I can obviously see how the two timelines intersect. I get it.